What would you do if a family member consistently disrespected your parenting choices and upset your child? In today's story, our protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My name is Alara, and at 32, I live in Belgium with my 39-year-old husband, Bastien, and our two children, Leo, who just turned 4, and baby Mia, 3 months old. My older brother, Daniel, 35, is married to Sienna, 29. And they haven't started a family yet. Bastien and I make it a point to visit my family in England about once a month. At home, our children are growing up bilingual, fluent in both English and French, thanks to Bastien's Belgian heritage. Leo, in particular, is in a delightful phase where he often mixes the two languages, sprinkling English words into French sentences and vice versa. This is perfectly normal, and his nursery staff have assured us it's a common phase that children typically outgrow by the time they start school. However, Sienna decided this was a significant problem. During our visits, if she heard Leo mixing languages, she would correct him, not gently like Bastien and I do, but quite rudely. Her job is quite intense, and I initially wondered if stress was making her act this way. But things escalated. During our current visit, Sienna decided to stop correcting Leo and started ignoring him altogether when he spoke incorrectly. I first noticed this strange behavior when we arrived, thinking perhaps she was just preoccupied. The real issue, however, came to a head yesterday. Bastien was outside chatting with my father, and I was in another room feeding Mia, leaving Leo with Sienna and Daniel. When I returned downstairs, I found Leo in tears. Through his sobs, I understood he had tried to ask Sienna for a drink. He was even holding his special cup, making his request unmistakably clear. Yet, Sienna had simply ignored him. Why did you ignore him, Sienna? I asked, my voice tight with disbelief. Her reply was chilling. She calmly explained that she wouldn't respond to him unless he phrased his sentence perfectly, adding that I shouldn't be ignoring my son's obvious speech issues. This reveals Sienna's greatest fatal flaw, her self-righteousness, which ultimately sealed her fate. What truly infuriated me was her next confession. I understood exactly what he was asking for, she stated, but I was deliberately refusing because he hadn't asked correctly. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate act of cruelty. My blood boiled. The injustice of it, the sheer unnecessary meanness towards a 4-year-old, overwhelmed me. Thankfully, Bastien walked in at that moment, sensing the tension, and gently pulled me away to help calm Leo and me down. That evening, at the dinner table, the perfect opportunity for a little payback presented itself. Sienna, who is English herself, asked me to pass her something, but she used a casual slang phrase, something like, "Pass us the peas, will you?" An epiphany struck me. I looked at her, then past her, and completely ignored her request. She repeated herself, a hint of confusion in her voice, and I did the same. My brother, Daniel, noticing the deliberate snub, asked why I was ignoring his wife. I met his gaze, my expression serene. I'm not able to reply if she can't speak English correctly, I said, my voice even, and it's wrong of you to ignore her obvious issues with grammar. The silence that followed was deafening. My parents, Daniel, and Sienna were all furious with me. I admit, it was incredibly childish, a truly petty move, but Sienna had been a complete jerk to my son, making him cry. As one commenter, Renuna, put it, you completely passive-aggressively defended your kid against a childish adult. Was it petty? Yes. Was it deserved? Hell yes. Another commenter, far_anteater_256, articulated my feelings perfectly. I wouldn't apologize, given the fact that she refused to help a child and made him cry based on the same logic you're using, which is actually her logic. If she can't even meet her own standards, she has no business imposing them on a toddler. My husband, Bastien, was entirely on my side. When he realized the full extent of what Sienna had done to Leo, he even wanted to cut our trip short. My parents, while upset with my behavior, actually agreed with me about Sienna's actions. They were mostly trying to keep the peace. It seems Sienna, and the rest of my family, only speak English, which might explain her lack of understanding about bilingualism. It really feels like a monolingual reaction, as we've never encountered anything similar in Belgium. We travel to the UK so often because Bastien has monthly or bi-monthly work commitments in London. As a freelancer with UK-based clients, it's also a great opportunity for me to schedule meetings. Plus, it allows Leo and Mia to spend time with my parents before Leo starts school and our visits become less frequent. I won't apologize to Sienna. Frankly, I believe she deserved it. However, before we leave, I plan to have a serious conversation with both her and Daniel. I'll explain that what Leo is doing is completely normal, and more importantly, that if she continues to correct or ignore him, I will severely limit their contact. I doubt I'll ever leave Leo alone with her again. Regardless, the story's core lesson is that sometimes, a taste of their own medicine is the most effective way to address rude or inappropriate behavior, especially when it targets a vulnerable child. What do you think is the best way to handle family members who overstep boundaries with your children?